Hello.
Hi.
The challenge is to show you that she's a robot and then see if you still feel she has consciousness.
Have you never been outside this building?
We could go together.
Did you program her to flirt with me?
Maybe she's pretending to like you.
Well, why would she do that?
Do you think I might be switched off?
It's not up to me.
Why is it up to anyone?
It's not a paranoid technology movie. It's not anti-AIs. It's not anti-robots. Often in these narratives, that's what we do. It's Skynet, it's Terminator. They're going to kill us. And this isn't that. This is more sympathetic in a way to the AI than to the people that have created it.
It's quite rare to pick up a script and get so sucked into it that you kind of read it the same way you read a book. And I actually think I kind of had the same experience that hopefully the audience have now watching the film for the first time. You don't know where the intentions of the three characters. It's hard to find you're all, of course, the way in, the bridge in with you are with Caleb, but then you start to kind of question who the protagonist is, and it's a very, intense psychological sci-fi drama.
Are you ever gonna let me out?
There is something lovely about being in a film, and the questions you're asking yourself every day are the questions that suddenly are being asked on the front page of a newspaper, about what's right, what is the correct way forward, where are the ethics involved in creating consciousness and all these sorts of things, even just the Turing test as a notion, seeing that be argued about and having some sort of understanding of it, because we got to talk to some cool people as a result of being in the film, yeah, of course, that's exciting, and it just means you're informed in a different way than you might be otherwise, and that's one of the great things about being an actor, is you learn stuff about things you never would have known anything about.
Do you know what the Turing test is?
Yeah, I know what the Turing test is. It's when a human interacts with a computer, and if the human doesn't know they're interacting with a computer, the test is passed.
And what does a pass tell us?
That the computer has artificial intelligence. Are you building an AI?
I've already built one. And over the next few days, you're going to be the human component in the Turing test. Because if that test is passed, you are dead center of the greatest scientific event in the history of man.
If you've created a conscious machine, it's not the history of man. That's the history of gods.
We had a pretty serious rehearsal process. That's a bit of a balancing act, because you don't want to kill the thing, so there's no room for spontaneity on the day. But at the same time, you don't want to have big conversations about motivation on the day and suddenly saying, well, hang on, let's turn this on its head. We didn't have the freedom to do that. What we did was we all said to each other collectively, we're going to have about 3 takes. We're going to be aiming for 3 takes per angle. And so sort of get it right. Get it right and then do 2 variations. That was the ideal. In terms of the process, beyond that, it's all delegated. It's them. It's what they decide to do, and what they decide between each other as well. This thing of coaxing a performance at a director, not in my experience. I mean, they know what they're doing, and what you want to do is facilitate what they want to do.
Alex knows what's best for the film. So if we're going down a road that isn't going to help the film, then he'll put a stop to that pretty quickly. If he sees it's a cul-de-sac, he'll just say, guys, we need to go a different way. But then he absolutely left room for things to grow and was open to things going in different directions than he expected. And I think expected us to provide the unexpected to a certain degree, to keep things interesting, to keep things new, and to give him options in the edit, because it's very important that you never feel totally sure-footed in this film, in the same way that my character Caleb never feels sure-footed. It's important to maintain that, and I think that, so he expected us to do a certain amount of that, I think.
Working with Domhnall, he's who I know, and he always dares to always take new paths and roads, and as soon as you do that role, you've hopefully done enough preparation work and gone through all those ideas, so you kind of landed with a feeling of who she is, and then you just have to let go and go with it. And I think Ava kind of, like with all other characters, maybe this needed even more work, but she kind of naturally grew within me, I think.
Alicia would just start a scene in a different headspace, and all of a sudden you think, oh, well, I really don't know what's going on here. Or halfway through, she would do something and you would think, that's quite robotic. Oh, I'm talking to a robot. And then she'll drop you in by doing something that makes you think, oh, she's a girl and she's a beautiful girl and I'm sat in front of somebody who I could be in love with maybe. You know, those little things, we were able to manipulate each other, I think, into maintaining the mystery too, which was, I mean, that was a lot of joy to that.
I'm Caleb.
Hello, Caleb.
Do you have a name?
Yes. Ava.
I'm pleased to meet you, Ava.
I'm pleased to meet you too.
There's a literal objectification of women, and that's part of what the film is about, and it's very sort of apparent. People even discuss it in the film in sort of extended scenes at certain points. And ideally, if the film functions, something is happening to the audience which is equatable with what is happening to the protagonist, played by Domhnall Gleeson. The same bit of imprinting and the same process is happening. So as he's being seduced, we're being seduced. And as we're being confused, he's being confused. And we match each other. That's the intention. And that leads us to where the film goes. There's some sort of strange baton exchanges that happen within the story that should be invisible almost as they're happening, and suddenly you realise, oh, hang on, this is all changed.
You shouldn't trust Nathan. You shouldn't trust anything he says.
I have a dancing background, and it's funny how in a lot of interviews I have, or for other roles, people always, assume as a dancer, how do you approach your role, or do you use your dancing background? But with this one, I was actually able to kind of do it very consciously and kind of try to find whatever her physicality was.
She created a sort of a language of movement that is like us. It doesn't alienate us by being robotic and clunky, but also has a sort of floating sense of otherness about it.
I also try to kind of make her a bit more perfect, weirdly enough, because I think flaws is very human. So I wanted to bring a very pure kind of pace to her in the way she moved and how she talked, and give her quite a lot of grace.
There was another element, which is the VFX and the design. So we had to come up with something, and where we got to eventually was this idea of a mesh that is machine-like but slightly ethereal. And the way I used to conceptualize it was as a spider's web. In some lighting conditions, you can't see it's there. You'd walk into it and wrap around your face. And other times it's picked out perfectly and you can see all the geometry of the web. And we'd apply that to her so that you'd get glimpses of this feminine form float out of the machinery and then disappear again. There's lovely moments when she turns and this light will just pass over her torso and you see this sculpted midriff and then it vanishes again. And that's seductive too.
So I did wear, like all the shapes that we see, I wore this silver suit that you partly see, but I had to build my forehead on top of my skull every morning. It took about 4.5 hours and 1 hour to take off each day. So that was a challenge, but it's amazing to be able to get help and transform.
You feel bad for Ava? Feel bad for yourself, man. One day the AIs are gonna look back on us the same way we look at fossil skeletons in the plains of Africa. An upright ape living in dust with crude language and tools, all set for extinction.
My favorite films are elevated genre films. So they're genre films which get so much more, that use the genre to tell us something about being human and to ask really important questions. Sci-fi, is so easily built for that because you create something different, you create something new and you say, how do we react to that as humans? Or you just drop it in the middle and let humans be humans around it. I think that stuff is, you can reveal so much about the weirdness of being alive and of, having a mind and having desires and all the rest of it by adding something new to the mix.
You have to help me.